Hi beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be drafting this kind of collar, and if this is your first time here, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to be doing is, since I already have my made dress already, what we're just going to do is to measure the neckline. So I used a 3 by 3 for this neckline, and for the back I use a 3 by 1.5. So now I just put it together to get the midpoint. After getting the midpoint, the next thing you have to do is to measure another, because I don't want this collar to be like at the middle. I want it to be a little bit slanted to the side, so I came out by 1.5 inch to either side that is preferable for you, and then that's now going to be your starting point. Since I already put the zip, I loosed it a little bit, so because I want that collar to be at that same point where the zip is going to end. So now the next thing I'm going to be doing is to take my measuring tape and measure one side. Normally you just measure once and cut it on your paper, but because of it is unequal, I have to measure one side and measure the other side. So whatever you have, you would note that down. You can see on one side I had about 14 inches, and on the other side I was having about 11 inches or 11 inches plus. So you see that it's not equal. Because of that particular reason, I have to draft it separately. Now for the first one, I'm going to draft the shorter one. All I have to do is divide it by 2. I divided by 2, I had about 5.1. So I'll note that on my paper. For that first line, I'm just using it as my starting point for this, so do not be confused by that line. I just drew a straight line so I can use that to start. Now from one edge, you can see that I'm using the part of the paper that is folded because this has to be on fold. Now I'm going to measure to the other side, which is now the 5.1. that is like our length, right? Now for the height of, that's how high I want that collar to be. You can use 3 inches, you can use 4 inches, whatever your preference is, you can use. For this, I originally used 4 inches because I felt like that was going to be okay. But bear in mind that I'm actually making this dress for somebody that I'm making this dress for a plus size person. So I felt the 4 inches might be small, and I decided to add 1 more inch to make it 5 inches. So you can see here, please do not be confused by the line. Normally you're supposed to have just one line, but because I've already drafted 4 inches as the collar height and I wanted it to be 5 inches, that's why you have double lines. So now, after noting down my 5 inches and joining it to make a straight line, the next thing is to come out, and this is for that slant, that pointed sharpness of the collar. All you have to do is come out by like 3 inches, 2.5, whatever you prefer, and just draw that slanted line to meet that 3 inches from the point where you started. Next thing is you come up by ½ inch and join it to the end of that line that you already drew. This is just for your collar to not be, straight, to sit properly. Do you understand? It just gives it that fitting. Now, next thing I'm going to do is to cut it out. Remember, I said I'm going to cut each of the sides separately. Normally, if it was an equal thing, this one I cut, that's all. But because of its unequal, now I have to cut the longer one. That was the shorter one I cut. Now the longer one, thinking about 6.75. So I'm going to take that straight down, and I'll take my ruler and make a straight line. Now, as you can see, I've made that straight line. Next thing I will want to do is to take the height. So I already drew another straight line because I want that to be my starting point. Now I'm going to take my 5 inches just like I did for the first one. So if you didn't understand the first time, this is another time for you to understand. Please, if you enjoy my videos, do not forget to like, to share, to subscribe. Encourage me, and to all the people who have been subscribing, thank you very, very much. Going on, next thing, I am drawing a line to join that point together. Now, we came out by 3 inches for the first one. We're supposed to do the same thing, and I figured that I now saw that the paper was not enough. So what I did was, off camera, I just use my paper tape to add paper to it, so I'll have enough to do what I need to do. Now I'll take that same in 3 inches that we took for the first shorter collar. After doing that, I'll do the same thing, just draw a slanted line to meet that same point, and also extend that line, the ending line there, so everything is uniform. After that, I'm still going to take my tape and come up by 1/2 inch from that base of that collar, come up by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to slant it into the sharp edge of the other point, just like I did in the first collar. Next thing I'm going to do is to cut it out. So at this point now, I have 2 collars. One is longer than the other. One is longer, the other one is shorter, as you can see, because of it is unequal. And I'm going to cut that on 2. I'm going to cut each of them, 2 pieces of each of them. I hope you guys understand, so please just follow. I've gotten my fabric, I've folded it, and I'm going to pin it down because this fabric shifts a lot. So while I was doing that, I decided to just cut my 2 pieces together instead of cutting one then using it to cut the other. So I folded it, pinned it down, and I cut. Now I did that for both pieces. Just like you can see, each of them folded. It looks like 4, but when you open it, since it already has one folding, it is 2. So 2 for each of them. Now after this, the next thing that I would need to do is to put a facing. Like I am using hair stay here. You can use paper stay, whatever stay that works for you, you can use it, but I'm using hair stay here. Now I cut 2 for each, just like the way I cut 2 for each on the fabric. I also cut 2 for each on the stay. After that, I will press it. After pressing it, this is what we have. As you can see, 2 of each. The reason for the 2 is because you're going to use one to turn the other, so then it now becomes one piece. Now I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew all the edge aside from that base where I touch. I'm not sewing that. You sew it, turn it over, iron it, and give it a good press. Now we have that. Next thing now is to come back to your dress. From that point we had marked, you're going to take this that you've joined and ironed and pin it round, just like I've done. I hope you can see. This is what we have. Pin it to that point where that zip is. Remember, I already loosened my zip a little bit, so when I'm done now, when I sew it, I'll be able to just turn my zip over and it'll be fine. Next, I'll take the other piece, and what I want it to cross a little bit, right? Just a little bit, just a tiny bit, so that it sits properly when I turn it over. And what I'm going to be doing, if you notice, I'm not putting it at the front. I'm not putting front to front, right? I'm sewing it from the back, so I will be able to turn it to the front. And after I do that, once I sew it, normally once you sew, you are going to top stitch on. If you were going to top stitch normally, you would top stitch on this black part, right? But no, I'm going to be top stitching on the fabric so it sits properly. I don't know if you understand. I will top stitch it on the fabric. After I've joined it with about 1/2 inch, I will now top stitch it on the fabric so it stays properly. Now, after doing that, this is what it looks like. Do we understand? So you can see that I top stitch on the fabric and you can see how it's overlapping and looking nice. Now this is the end of the dress. Thank you.